There's a root sitting on the table in front of me right now. It's knobby, about the size of a fat ginger root, tan-skinned, and it came out of the ground at the edge of my garden here in eastern Oklahoma about an hour ago. It doesn't look like much, but one planting of this root, one single time, will feed a family every winter for the rest of their lives without ever being planted again. My people were growing this all across the eastern woodlands centuries before the first European ship dropped anchor, and acre for acre, it outproduces corn without fertilizer, without spray, without irrigation. In soil, corn wouldn't even sprout in. And yet you can drive across this whole country today, past millions of acres of corn stretching from Ohio to Nebraska, and never see one field of it. That's not an accident. And the reason has nothing to do with how it tastes or how it grows. Stay with me to the end, because there is one specific thing the first hard frost does inside this root. And if you dig it up before that happens, you will swear this whole video steered you wrong. Dig it up after, and you'll understand why the old ones planned their entire harvest around the coal. I'm Wes Kingfisher. I'm 64 years old. I'm of Cherokee heritage, and I was raised by my grandmother Ada in these hills of eastern Oklahoma, where I still live today. She grew this very root along the north fence of her garden. My whole childhood, my grandfather and uncles taught me the woods around it. And 40 years on the powwow trail taught me how our people from the plains to the north woods used it too. The old ones never wrote this down, so listen close. Now let's talk about corn for a minute, because corn is the crop this country bet everything on. And understand me, my people called corn silu, which means corn in Cherokee, and it was precious to us. This is not about running corn down. But if you've ever grown a garden, you know what corn asks of you. New seed every spring. Rich soil and plenty of it. Fertilizer, because corn is about the hungriest thing you can put in the ground. Water all summer long. And after all that, one dry August or one family of raccoons can take the whole patch in a week. Out past your fence, it's the same story on a bigger scale. Millions of acres of it, oceans of fuel and fertilizer and spray poured on every year, and every spring the whole enterprise starts over from zero. Meanwhile, the root on my table asks for almost none of that. You plant it once. It comes back every year on its own, thicker than the year before. It grows in clay, in sand, in that worn-out strip along the fence where nothing else takes. It shrugs off drought. The deer mostly leave it be. And under every plant, come fall, there's 2 to 5 pounds of food waiting in the ground, in a pantry that keeps itself all winter. It fed my people for centuries, and later on it fed half of Europe through its famines. So the real question is why nobody grows it anymore. And the answer tells you a lot about how food works in this country. We'll get there. And remember what I said about that first frost, because that is the part even the folks who do grow this get wrong. Now, what I'm showing you today is one page out of a book I put together called The Native American Way. 101 remedies, skills, and recipes that kept my people alive for 10,000 years. It's the knowledge my grandmother, Ada, and the elders of Indian country handed me around 1,000 fires, written down plain, step by step, before it's gone. The backyard plants, and exactly how the old ones used them. The teas and salves from Ada's kitchen. The wild foods, and when to gather them. Putting food up the old way. Fire and shelter and water skills, and the recipes that fed the people through every winter. It's $17 right now, marked down from $47. That's less than one sack of fertilizer for knowledge that was 10,000 years in the testing. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up. Give it a tap and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, back to the root on my table. This plant goes by a few names. Most seed catalogs call it the sunchoke. The old grocery name is the Jerusalem artichoke, which is a foolish name because it has nothing to do with Jerusalem, and it is not an artichoke. What it actually is a sunflower, a Native American sunflower that grows 6 to 10 feet tall, with small yellow blooms that open in September. And instead of putting its wealth into a big seed head, it puts it underground into those knobby tubers. If you've ever driven past a ditch line in the Midwest in late summer and seen a wall of tall yellow flowers swaying, there's a fair chance you were looking at food and didn't know it. My grandmother had a saying about that. The land gives you everything. You just have to know what you're looking at. And here is a comfort for the cautious. Unlike a lot of wild foods, this one has no dangerous look-alike underground. You're digging under a plant you put there yourself or one you watch bloom yellow all September. That's woodsman certainty, not guesswork. Now the history, because the history answers the question in the title. When the French explorer Champlain came down the New England coast in the early 1600s, he found whole cultivated fields of this root tended by the native people there, and he shipped some home to France. The French fell in love with it. It spread across Europe and carried whole regions through famine years because it grew where wheat failed. 200 years later, when Lewis and Clark were hungry on the Missouri River in 1805, it was Sacagawea who dug these same roots out of the prairie and fed them. So this crop was never a secret. It was proven on 2 continents. Then American farming industrialized, and the sunchoke had 3 problems that had nothing to do with feeding people. You plant it once, and it returns forever. So there was no yearly seed to sell you. Its skin is thin, so it wrinkles fast off the shelf and won't ship cross-country like a can of corn. And nobody can patent a wild sunflower that grows free in every ditch, from Georgia to the Dakotas. No repeat sale, no shipping, no patent. There was simply never a dime in it. Corn got the machinery, the subsidies, and the science, and this root got dropped from the catalogs. Not because it failed, because it couldn't be owned. So let's plant some, because that's the best answer to all of that. Get yourself about 1 pound of tubers. A farmer's market will have them in fall. A seed catalog will ship them in spring, and even the sunchokes from a grocery produce shelf will usually grow. Pick a spot in full sun. Now listen to this part, because it matters. This plant spreads, and it does not quit. So give it its own corner of the yard, away from your vegetable beds, somewhere you can mow around. In spring, once the ground works up soft, dig a hole about 4 inches deep. That's 4 inches, roughly the length of your palm. Set 1 tuber in the hole, knobs facing up. Cover it over. Plant the next one about 18 inches away. 18 inches, about 2 boot lengths. Water the row in once, then leave it alone. No fertilizer, no spray. By July, it'll be over your head, and by September, it'll be blooming yellow. So the planting is one Saturday morning, one time for the rest of your life. That handles the growing. But it leaves you with the harvest. And the harvest is where the old knowledge really lives. The first rule of harvest is patience. And I'll give you the deep why in just a minute. Because that's the promise that I made you at the start. You do not dig in September when the plants look ready. You wait for the tops to brown and die back. And you wait for the first hard frost to hit the ground. After that, take a digging fork, not a shovel, because a fork spares more tubers. Loosen the soil under one dead stalk. Lift what's there. Take only what you'll eat in a week. Then stop. Leave everything else right where it sits, because the ground itself is the root cellar. Our people up in the North Woods left these beds in the frozen earth all winter and dug dinner as they needed it, sometimes through snow. And the roots kept better there than anything keeps in a modern refrigerator. Whatever you do bring inside, keep it in a bag in the icebox with a damp paper towel, and eat it within the week, because in open air, these wrinkle in days. And there's your shipping problem from earlier, sitting right in your own kitchen. In the kitchen, they're easy. Sliced raw, they crunch like a water chestnut. Roasted at 400 degrees for about 35 minutes. They go sweet and nutty. And that's 400 degrees, same as you'd roast a potato. My grandmother, Ada, fried them in her black cast iron skillet with wild onions, and October didn't smell right without it. Now, the part I've been holding all video. Most root vegetables store their energy as starch, and your body handles starch just fine. The sunchoke is different. It stores its energy as something called inulin, and your stomach owns no tool that can break inulin apart. It passes straight down to the bacteria, low in your gut, and they feast on it, and they celebrate loudly. I'll say it plain, the way an uncle would. A sunchoke dug in September will make you sorry by midnight. And that one experience is why half the people who try this crop swear it's junk. But the old ones knew something the catalogs never printed. When the first hard frost hits and the ground turns cold, the plant senses winter and starts converting that inulin into simple sugars, plain sweetness, to protect itself through the freeze. Cold is the cook. Every week those tubers sit in frozen ground. They get sweeter and gentler, until by December they are a different food entirely. So the frost isn't a deadline to beat. The frost is the finishing step. 10,000 years of testing figured that out without a single laboratory. And that's the guarantee on this one. Even so, start with a small helping your first time, the way you'd break in any new food, and work up from there. And that's the kind of thing my grandmother handed me for free. There are 101 of them in the book, written out plain, so they don't die with me. The Native American way is $17 today instead of $47. And this root has its own page in it, right alongside the remedies, the wild foods, the skills, and the kitchen that carried the people through every winter. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So that's the sunchoke. Plant it once in its own sunny corner, let the frost do the finishing, and dig your supper out of the ground all winter long. If you plant a row of these this spring, come back and tell me where you put them and what state you're in. I read every single one. And next time, I'm going to show you how my people kept meat good for a full year with no freezer and no electricity, using smoke, salt, and one old step that almost everybody today leaves out. And that step is the whole reason theirs never spoiled and yours might. Wado, my friends. That means thank you. Walk easy and I'll see you down the trail.